and welcome. This is Giant Strides, a weekly program proudly brought to you by the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, NDPHC. I'm your host, Jules AK, and it's a pleasure to have you with us on today's episode. This week, we focus on a significant development, the recent visit by the NDPHC management team, led by its Managing Director and CEO, Engineer Jenifer Adighije, alongside the House of Representatives Committee on Power, to the Egbema Power Plant located in Imo State. The focus of this visit was to assess the ongoing operations of the facility, reaffirm its strategic role in boosting national power generation and distribution, and ensure alignment with NDPHC's commitment to sustainable energy access across all 36 states of Nigeria. Also, on today's program, we turn a spotlight on NDPHC's active participation in key energy conferences and industry events, exploring how these engagements influence policy direction, regulatory reforms, and investment opportunities aimed at transforming Nigeria's energy landscape. And so, without further ado, let's get straight to the action with today's program. The Managing Director of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, Engineer Jenifer Adighije, accompanied by her management team, as well as the House of Representatives Committee on Power, paid a working visit to the Egbema Power Plant in Imo State. The Egbema Power Project is a 378 megawatt capacity gas-fired plant, which was awarded in 2022.
The reason for the slippage is the long process involved with the procurement and the installation of the identified replacement parts. So the critical achievement, including constructing power and water integrated tests for all equipment, site interlay roads, curbs, site drainage, building works for admin, canteen, fire station, guardhouse, and the workshop buildings. Installation of a plant firefighting line and the underground pipings. Installation and the termination of cables. BOP equipment comprising EDG, PSDG, gas receiving station, water treatment plant, oiling waste water treatment plant, testing and the final commissioning of TT and BOP.
During this visit, she raised concerns over the severe financial crisis in Nigeria's power sector, attributing it to a massive debt burden of over 4 trillion naira owed to generation companies. She emphasized that the debt has significantly hindered the sector's ability to expand electricity generation and ensure a steady power supply for Nigerians.
Once they get the approval at yes, I don't think take as long as where the major problem is.
Whilst addressing the committee, she highlighted the urgent need to resolve the liquidity crisis that has crippled investments in the sector. She noted that the debt, largely inherited from previous administrations, has placed a heavy financial strain on the current management. According to her, without urgent intervention, Nigeria's ambition to boost power generation for industrialization and economic growth will remain constrained. Following a tour of the facility, NDPHC's Managing Director, Engineer Jenifer Adighije, reiterated the need for increased funding to ensure the project is delivered on schedule. She emphasized that timely financial support is critical to meeting the country's growing energy demands and improving power supply nationwide.
We're here to host the House Committee on Power at our Egbema NIPP Power Plant. As you can see, this is an ongoing project with 3 generating units, and therefore the installed capacity of the plant is 375 megawatts. This is a contract that was awarded to CIMEC, China Machinery Engineering Company, in 2023, and we're planning that the completion will be sometime at the end of this year, and we're tracking the progress. As you can see, we're very keen on completing this project to ensure that we're able to scale the generation capacity of our nation, which is the mandate of the NDPHC. For the benefit of hindsight and for Nigerians that do not know, we have a current liquidity crisis in the power sector, which stems from the fact that the government is owing Gencos over 4 trillion naira. And we're hoping that Mr. President can prioritize interventions in the power sector. Interventions would ensure that we're able to complete all our ongoing projects timely, and would ensure that we're able to service our gas payables and receivables, and will also ensure that we're able to put all in place to make sure that we're able to reach and deliver access to quality, reliable and affordable electricity to the last mile, which is Mr. President's promise to Nigerians. And as NDPHC, as the government-owned Genco and the backbone of the industry, we're keen on accelerating the mandate of Mr. President to ensure that we unlock our collective prosperity through energy inclusion and energy efficiency.
Commending the effort of the NDPHC, the chairman of the House Committee on Power stressed the importance of continuous monitoring and oversight on ongoing projects. He highlighted the need for accountability and efficiency in executing power sector initiatives to prevent delays and cost overruns.
From what we have seen, I think we're getting out of the woods gradually. From what we have seen, our position today is not that of heartbreaking anymore as far as Egbema Power Plant is concerned. Egbema Power Plant is the one giving us nightmare of all the power plants that started the same day. This is the one that, do I say it has a snail speed? And thank God, to the glory of God, that Mr. President, in his own wisdom, have brought in a good management, tracking the progress of the new contractors. Of course, the new contractors are also new on site. They are less than 2-3 years on site here because the contract was just awarded. You're also aware that the issue of litigation gave a very big setback on full work in this place. To the glory of God, that we will not want to speak on the issue of litigation, but it's a major setback, quite a major setback. And reasonably, the contractors are really working and they appear to be proactive. Let's thank the management of Niger Delta Power Holdings. They are standing, they are alive to their responsibilities, standing on their feet to ensure that the terms of the present contract is fully implemented in terms of work progress. From what you have presentation they've given to us, over 60-something% have been achieved, and with that, we are sure that things would go on. And of course, coming even from the gates, from the aesthetics and all, and from what we have also seen inside, I think we are getting closer to it. And like the MD said, I'm confident that if the proper funding is done, that the contractor will deliver, because it's a two-edged thing, awarding the contract and paying the contractor. If you don't pay, the pace of course, it's a normal thing. Nobody wants to put money where there's no return. If they are Red Cross, I'm sure they will not be here. So what I'm trying to say, if government keeps to their own end, and like he said, there's cash crunch affecting the power industry. But let's thank God for Mr. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR, who signed, as soon as he came into office, he signed the Electricity Act. immediately. And that's why you are finding new lease of life. And of course, the tariff again is making the power industry as a whole bankable, that even banks are ready to partner with them now. So that's what all of them are enjoying. No doubt that the government is owing Gencos. But if you look at this year's budget too, it's been taken care of to some extent. Not fully, of course. The problem of the power industry cannot be solved overnight. But I think the government, I must commend Mr. President for his renewed hope agenda, which I think this is one of the places it's being implemented, irrespective of party. We're talking about governance now, and I must commend him for his foresight. Let me commend the minister also for what they are doing in this place. And Semko, I told you one thing. If you work very hard, it will make you Nigerian China. Yes, because you are the MD that was seen of Semco worldwide. You are the one that we know. Sincerely speaking, MD of Nigeria Power Holdings, I say keep it up. It's only a good thing they ask somebody to keep it up so that Nigerians can actually benefit. The community around, they also, because what we talk about power is how do we check youth restiveness? How do we check unemployment? How do we check our security? Because it is power that will help us to improve on our security system. It is power that will help us to check the unemployment among our youth. That's why we are so concerned. And of course, Mr. Speaker, the Speaker of the 10th House of Reps, is deeply concerned of what is happening in the power industry. That's why we are here. And we will keep going. Of course, we were in Calabar some time ago, not too long ago. And of course, they are far better off. But what we are seeing today, it shows that the Egbema Power Plant will soon come to steam, and they will also catch up with other power plants, believing what we have seen, if proper funding is done. On this note, I say we are happy for the progress of work going on for now. Of course, let's also thank Mr. President. The budget we had this year in power improved compared to what we had in the previous years. That, again, that shows you commitment to his renewed agenda, because the renewed hope agenda cannot come to steam without funding. That's why he increased the funding of the power sector. And I also believe that for any supplementary that comes, the oversight in the additional 4 trillion that was added where power was omitted, I wouldn't want to speak to it about here. There was some communication gap, but I think that a subsequent ones, it will not be like that anymore, which I strongly believe. Not our colleagues. Our budgeting system in Nigeria is how do I put it to you? Maybe envelope system, but whatever that comes, we will ensure that it will not be distorted by the National Assembly. Of course, if the committee does not distort it, it goes to say that National Assembly will not. And if, as the parastatals under power, I think they have good working relationship with the chairman and the members of the Committee of Power in the Senate, as well as the chairman and members of the Committee of Power in the House of Reps. That's why you see us that the public hearing here and there about our agencies is at minima. That's very, very minimal. That shows you that a lot of things are resolved outside camera.
According to NDPHC, the Egbema Power Project is currently at 60% completion, with a scheduled commissioning date set for November 2025. Once operational, the plant is expected to significantly boost electricity generation and contribute to Nigeria's industrial and economic growth.
In fact, I'm saying that I'm very honorable to see we win the job and can get the trust from NDPHC for this project. This project, in fact, is a power plant with 3 turbine units. Total, the capacity of the power plant is 375 megawatts. And the job will start around February of 2023. Yes, since February of 2023, me and my team try our best to make the milestone achievement. Yes, we want to try our best to make sure this project can have the final successful and can be complete in time. I also look forward to see. We hope that we can get more support from Nigeria government for funding. Yes. Now currently I think if we resolve the funding issues, we will make the things very fast. Yes. And I also want to appreciate that the new management of NDPHC, they really support us and really resolve the issues with a very fast way. Yeah? Yes.
Stakeholders in the power sector have repeatedly called for financial restructuring and policy reforms to address the persistent challenges facing electricity generation and distribution in the country. As the government and industry players seek lasting solutions, the resolution of the sector's financial constraints remain crucial to achieving a stable and efficient power supply for Nigeria. We turn a spotlight on NDPHC's active participation in key energy conferences and industry events, exploring how these engagements influence policy direction, regulatory reforms, and investment opportunities aimed at transforming Nigeria's energy landscape. The Future of Power Africa Conference took place on the 2nd of April 2025 at the Art Hotel in Lagos, Nigeria. This inaugural event convened industry leaders, policymakers, and investors to explore regulatory changes, emerging trends, and investment opportunities within Africa's energy sector. Speakers at the conference included representatives from top energy organizations such as the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, NDPHC, Savannah Energy, Sahara Group, Eco Electric Distribution PLC, Access Bank, and the Special Advisor on Power to the Governor of Ogun State. The event aimed at creating a forum to revitalize the power sector by addressing challenges, identifying opportunities, and fostering collaboration throughout the energy value chain.
The future of power in Africa.
The convener, Engineer Jude Nwoko, emphasized that the event was more than just a discussion about the issues or challenges within the power sector, but it was also a movement to inspire investment and innovation from power generation to distribution and entrepreneurial ventures. He said, "It is about actionable solutions that will redefine the way we think about energy."
The future of power in Africa is a confab that was birthed out of the passion to educate stakeholders, industry players, and general public about the changes in the power sector. There are some fundamental changes that have occurred in the sector within the last 2 years. And these changes are fundamentally meant to reduce bureaucratic bottlenecks in the sector that have delayed the development of the structure. We all know that power is the lifeblood of every economy. And for Nigeria to grow within the potentials that she has, we must maximize the opportunities that we have within the power sector. Every Nigerian wants to flick on their switches and have power available for them to use for both their domestic and their industrial purposes. So we are hoping and we are believing that the future of power in Africa is a platform where industry players, stakeholders, regulators come together to provide clarity to the general public so that those who desire to invest in the sector will have the right information to make their investment decisions. Let me start with the infrastructure deficit. We have in the sector a huge infrastructure deficit. What do I mean by that? Both from the transmission end from the generation end to the transmission end of things, and even then to distribution and final end users. We find that there has not been sufficient investments in the sector commensurate to the population growth of Nigeria as a nation. So This new developments have created room for more players to come into the space, bring in private investments, and encourage an all-commerce field where there is some sort of willing buyer, willing seller arrangement being done in the sector. Now, speaking to your second question of renewables, it is the way to go. We find that individual IPPs should be encouraged, and all sorts of sustainable power should also be encouraged, because one, we have a duty to protect the environment. As a people, we have a duty to protect the environment, and renewable and solar power is one way to go. And beyond government providing grants and subsidies for this development, I believe that private players should be encouraged to come into the sector, and should be encouraged to see that this sector can actually, it's a productive sector. You can put your investment in and you can make profits out of it. The moment that is a common knowledge, because before now, what was believed is that people, this sector, you cannot make profit out of it. But I wear several hats. I happen to be on investment end and also a player of some sort. I believe and I know that it is a profitable sector. And the moment we encourage more private players to come in, and there are grants and financial interest-free grants are made available for people to come into the renewable space, there will be an influx of genuine Nigerians who want to make the power sector work. And with that, we'll have power available for all. One of our key plenary session is being handled by one of the commissioners in LASEC, the Lagos State Electricity Regulatory Board. I'm giving that instance to show that the people who will carry out the enforcement are right on the table with us. They are here, the conversations are being held, operators are here, the MD of one of the most productive gencos is here, and we're trusting that these people are not just making promises. The papers, like you said, the conclusions from these deliberations are being handed straight to the appropriate people who will begin enforcement right afterwards. We also have set up a platform where the general Nigerians can send their feedback, their inquiries, and we can provide periodic education updates in form of newsletters, in form of newspaper publications on the happenings in the space. And with those information, the public are well enlightened, and investors have the right rubrics to make their investment decisions.
The conference also underscored the importance of ongoing dialogue, strategy updates, and progress tracking to drive real change within the energy and power sector. Welcome back. I trust you found today's review both insightful and encouraging, especially as we continue to witness remarkable strides in the power sector. Time and again, the leadership of NDPHC has demonstrated unwavering dedication to tackling Nigeria's electricity challenges head-on. Through strategic projects and collaborations, they are reinforcing the path towards the future of reliable and uninterrupted power supply, critical for growing businesses, powering homes, and fueling economic development. Thank you for joining us on Giant Strides, where we shine the light on progress in power. And until next time, I remain your humble host, Jules AK. News.